Welcome to My Fix It Up Life Live.
Hi guys, I'm Teresa.
And I am Mark, and we're talking open shelves in the kitchen and around the house. They look great, but are they built for real life, or are they built for a magazine or website photo shoot?
Well, I kind of think open shelves around the house are kind of a smart idea. Like bookshelves and stuff like that. We've always had that. But
Like you're talking about things you don't use every day.
things you don't use every day, beautiful objects and stuff.
Sure.
I mean, you have to dust around them and everything. But the thing that I don't really understand is the open shelves in the kitchen. I think that's something for people who have major OCD DIY. What do you think, Susan?
I just popped in because I restarted my computer. So can you repeat that? I'm just joining this second.
I know we had some tech difficulties too logging on to Google this morning. So I don't know what's going on. The universe said, we need to have some more time for them to get started today. So
It might
That's
be,
what-
or it could be zombies.
It could be, absolutely. Anyway, I'm happy to be here. I just joined this second. I didn't hear a thing you said till now, so but I know what the topic is.
well, the thing is that we were just talking. We just got started. We were waiting for you to join. And the thing is that open shelves around the house has been something that we've had for ages. Bookshelves and knickknacks and all of that. But in the kitchen, with stuff that you're using so much, and there's so much busyness in the kitchen, to me, open shelves are for magazines and for people who have sort of an OCD thing where they are committed to making sure everything looks perfect all of the time.
Well, yes and no, because you can, I'm sure when they go to their therapist, they have multiple issues. One is that, yes, they must keep it perfect, and the other that they can't have open shelving because they are perfectionists and they're afraid that if something's out of order. So you can go either way. You can go either way with it. But and let me just there's so much there's so much to it. There's so much to consider with open shelving, and I'm just getting myself oriented because but I had a couple of notes here. Yeah.
Well, Susan, while you
That's totally fine.
while you think about that, I want to say that I saw on your Google Plus page, actually, which is fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
And people should follow you there and put you in circles and do all that Google Plus stuff.
I love that they call them circles too.
Well, of course.
'Cause
Why
that's my
wouldn't you?
favorite shape.
It's the two O's for Google.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
I understand, but still, it's my favorite shape.
And, you're probably married, Susan. If you're not, congratulations. There's a point, certainly in the day, when I get to make my points or have a complete thought, but right now in this Hangout, that's not one of them.
No, you can have your own.
You posted today, Susan Serra on Google Plus, or I'm sorry, you posted, I don't know if it was today, a kitchen that actually changes my mind about open shelves in
Really?
the kitchen.
Whoa.
Killer kitchen.
Oh.
And it was a lot of slashes, industrial, farmhouse, rustic kitchen. It was green, and it looked like it was just awesome.
Yes, I know the one. I know the one. Now, that isn't a kitchen I designed. That's a kitchen, and wait till you see what I have. I have the ultimate collection of images of open shelving in kitchens. And that particular image, I didn't do that, but I took a picture of it in Milan. I went to Eurocachina in Milan in May, and oh my gosh, it was all about open shelving. And I have put together a killer album of collections. So whenever you want to get to that, your mind will explode. Now, how about you, Teresa? Are you for or against it?
I'm sort of back and forth. I like the idea of it. I like the idea of having, your everyday things that you use and on a shelf that's open near where the dishwasher is, near where everything, very functional. But if I were living by myself,
Here it comes.
then that would be ideal, but I don't. So I've got, there's 3 other people that live in my house, and I don't know if I can.
And did you hear that slight my house?
Well, that's the thing.
See what's happening?
That's the thing,
do you
though.
see the erosion of everybody
You're
else's
a guest,
personality?
Mark. You're a guest. You're a guest.
So true. It's like when I come downstairs in the morning and I'm picking up shoes, I'm picking up shirts, I'm picking up all the stuff that was left out the night before. I don't want to have to go into the kitchen and have to then rearrange all the plates and everything too, because you never know who's going to stop by.
Yeah, I mean, we have, the president stopped by yesterday. It was Brad Pitt the day before.
Wow.
It's insane.
Wow.
It's insane.
Well, I've lived with open shelving in my home, and I designed part of my kitchen that way. And I'll tell you, I have a philosophy about it. Not all my family agrees, but I feel that it's good. Open shelving is good for the immune system.
Now you've got me hooked.
I mean, come on. You get a little speck of dust here, 10 over there. It keeps the immune system at attention. Now, I have other members of the family who I would classify as germaphobes, and where I will take a dish out and do whatever I want with it, they will take a dish out and rinse it off. And this could have been taken, from the dishwasher last night, whatever. To me, it helps out the immune system. They kind of partner together.
Well, that's the same thing as, I know friends who wash all their dishes and then put them in the dishwasher.
Oh my gosh.
Wash all the dishes.
And my family too, and we have fights about that. Yeah. You can't do that.
And then the friends too who also have to clean the toilet anytime anyone comes over after they've been there. If someone's used their toilet that's not in the family, they have to compulsively do that.
Non-family pee.
Their sheets and towels every single day like it's a hotel. We don't do that at our house.
Yeah,
I would eat the dust.
You would? Okay.
I would eat the dust.
Okay,
yeah.
Yes. Yay for eating the dust. I agree. I totally agree. But you know what? There's not only the fact of having open shelving or not to consider. I mean, it's what to put on the shelves. And this will be leading up to the images I'll show you. Do you put useful items in them? Do you put decorative items in them? How large are they? What color? What contrast? What material shelf? What proportion? What balance? There's so many factors. I mean, you really need a professional to tell you. It's not just putting up a shelf and putting something on it. It's, really doing some deep thinking into how it will fit with what is surrounding the kitchen, the shelf. But the beauty of open shelving, I like change. I'm okay with change. You can change it. You can then, anytime, the season, the holidays, you're bored, change it up.
So what you're saying is every Halloween put a pumpkin on your open shelf, no matter how big the pumpkin is. And no matter how open the shelf. Got it.
You're just not well.
End of Hangout. Moving on.
You got it.
Okay. Not well.
No, I'm joking.
But that is true. Approaching it either as a functional thing, like putting your everyday things there so they're easy to get, or as a decorative way of, celebrating whatever. If you have beautiful dishes from, your grandmother that you want to show off, or pretty pedestals or something like that.
I mean, that is...
But then you have to commit to dusting them.
That is open shelving, and that is for real life. Right there, what Susan just described.
Totally.
By the way, we haven't mentioned that she has just about every alphabet soup at the end of her name relative to kitchen design.
I have a few.
CKD, Osei, Kisei D.
Yeah.
That's a different alphabet I made up.
E-I-E-I-O.
We just got a note on our chat here from Robin. She's asking if we have suggestions for things that work well with open shelving. Now, by things that work well with open shelving, that could be anything.
Oh, well, you let me know when you want me to go into the slideshow, and that will answer the question.
Well, I'm thinking that sharing some images will do a really good job of answering Robin's question of suggestions of things that work with open shelving. I am ready to be persuaded into whatever Mark saw on your Google Plus page. I'm ready for it to sort of like come over me.
Okay, okay, Susan
yes.
Serra,
Let's talk about it.
Take us on the tour.
What
I
works
will take you
well?
on the tour. Okay, and I'm just going to put in bullet points, and because I have a lot of images, and we'll just get you excited and scream and when you see something you like, and 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 then we'll go from there. So, screen share. Are you ready? I think you're ready. Oh, that's funny. I have 2 of the things I thought I would only have 1 of. Okay, so here we go. Here's our first. Now, this is a picture I took in Milan. These are all from Milan. You can hear me, right? Everything's, yeah. So this
we
is.
can hear
yeah.
you, yes.
Okay, so this is a modern kitchen, but it's kind of cool, kind of cold. It's not like warm and fuzzy. But what you're seeing here is you actually see a wood shelf over here, and you see a stainless over here. So, not the warmest application for everyone. Here, do you know what I saw a lot of? I saw a lot of cubicles. So you can do open shelving in the form of cubicles. Here we have a mix of useful items as well as decorative items. And it's the geometry is mixed up, and then you have a solid cabinet door in front. So interesting. Here now, down below, we have wire shelving. This is part of an island. Certainly interesting. We have now, if you notice the plates that are on there, they're all one color. They're all basically 1 or 2 forms. So it looks very neat. So that's that. This, I'll tell you something. To me, this is clutter. If you look toward the left side,
Yes.
Yeah,
and this is
I'm
a
with you.
display. This is a display. To me, it's clutter. There are too many small forms, and they don't blend well. So this is a picture of that. That's when so it tells you now at the slides that are coming, you can see the work that was put into it. This is interesting. Sometimes the negative space meaning you have a shelf where it's partly empty, that sends a message too, and that is its own design element. I mean, I don't know, us Americans, we can't have a shelf that we don't put stuff on, so I don't think this would fly very well.
I love it.
I think it's a smart thing, though, too. I heard somewhere to always have 1 empty shelf in your kitchen, no matter
Really?
what you have, so that you have, an openness to accept new things, or, you know what I mean? So that
that's an excellent point, Teresa, because the open shelves are about adding an open element in the kitchen, too. So perfect. Mm-hmm. That's such a perfect point. Now, we can have open shelving that are vertical. That's vertical, and this is a kind of a midway height cabinet, so that's interesting. And over here we have, this weird kind of configuration. We have color here, we have cubicles, we have different geometry. So much to see. This is actually stunning.
All I noticed is that sink is throwing up ivy.
What is the ivy on the sink?
What? Do you have to mow that sink?
Is that a new kind of apron?
Well, doesn't everyone have that when they go out in the yard and they want to put it in a vase or something? I mean, isn't this typical? I guess
the
it's
modern Tarzan.
That's my compost bin if I don't empty it.
There you go. It's that Italian concept. There you go. So this is actually stunning, absolutely stunning. What's interesting is we don't always have room for this. This is bumped forward. The kitchen's bumped forward, and then you have a shelf a little bit recessed there. And here's a wider look at this, which is, kind of ridiculously stunning. It's very, fashion-oriented.
Love the lighting.
Yeah, here you can see the wall. You can see the shelves are recessed. They're not coming forward. They're going backward. And then lighting is a very, very big part of all of these shelves. These 2 are areas that are concealed. And then you have, it looks like that the shelves are very, very flexible. You can put them anywhere you want. But they're concealed, meaning that there are doors that then conceal the entire sections. which I also saw. This we're very familiar with, at the end of an island. This is a more traditional. I have a few traditional pictures in here. Always appropriate, always interesting to the eye. Here's, again, you can have fun. This is where you have fun with color, with geometry, and, we don't think of doing this. So going to Milan was like going to, my head exploded. Totally exploded. Now here is, this is pretty awesome.
I love that.
How
The
awesome
shape,
is
yeah.
this? Yeah.
It
Just,
would take me
you can,
6 years to build that.
6
yeah.
years.
Oh,
Yeah,
look,
now-
this is a ramp for cats.
Oh,
this is a
Lord.
ramp. Yeah. Now look at this.
You
I mean,
can-
the kit. Go ahead.
You could either ride your mountain bike on that, or your cats could use it as a bridge. I would give them a bridge outside, but they could use it. I'm just saying, to answer Robin's question with complete nonsense about open shelves
Yes.
and are they for real life, that's the most realistic shelf I've ever seen, because it may be a cat solution. A cat-lution, if you will.
Really?
Yeah.
Somebody mute him.
If she could drown me in this coffee right now, she would.
And then here
Oh,
we
my
have
goodness
color.
gracious.
This is all about, this is an open shelf as a real focal point, and then repeating the color elsewhere in the design. And here's another example of a recessed shelf where everything comes forward and you've designed in an area to be recessed. Now, look how stunning this is. You have a round surrounding the cabinetry. You have this other texture and color, and then you have some white shelving. I mean, how chic is that? And
That's
here's
cool.
shelving.
Nothing's in those jars.
No.
Air.
Unless there's milk
There's
in the milk,
air
milk
in
bottles.
them. It's,
Yuck.
it's expensive air.
That's right. That's right. And here's, open shelving for down below, and a different color and texture. Again, just so chic. And above. Now here are, these basic, kind of like Home Depot supports we see on here. But don't they look cool? Don't they look? It has a little bit of industrial sort of look that we're seeing a lot of. Just as you were leaning forward, I moved it. And here, oh yeah. Well, again, cubicles, some with a back, some without a back, and just a totally different, sleek backsplash down below again. Books, always such a warm and fuzzy look. So we always love that. Here, this is an interesting one, isn't it?
Whoa.
Kind of
Oh, you
some.
love?
Oh my God.
I don't
Are you
know.
kidding me?
It.
And that shelf underneath with the display pot and pan. No one
Yeah.
cooks with that pan, by the way. That's like for poaching a souffle or something.
Poaching
That's
a
right.
souffle?
Just if you don't know how to cook, just try to be quiet.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That
So
would-
even, go ahead.
That's in such a position that it actually could be used as a display and not get cluttered and still be part of that open shelf routine.
But the other thing, too,
the
is
cage
that-
shelf she showed before.
No, but the open shelves that are near the ground, they're more likely to get the dust and the cat fur and all that stuff.
Not
in
if you
them.
use the other open shelf that we had before.
We would need to be able to hire some kind of cleaning service, or you would have to clean every day. You
That's-
look good in an apron, by the way.
That's terrible, Susan Serra, CKD. we can't use that. Please banish it from the internet.
Okay. How about some green, beautiful, organic kind of feeling with brown wood and grain and greens, so that bring out the inner hippie in you.
Well, I am seeing all of this, and it's beautiful, but
We're going to have to scale back on this one.
and they are very well designed, very beautiful examples of open shelving. But my questions have to do with, I'm seeing a lot of people in the blogging world, the DIY blogging world, talking about they just taken the fronts off their cabinets, and then, that is less, I guess, intentional from the ground up for when you're designing, a
Sure.
kitchen in a total sense, and just sort of taking off the fronts of cabinets and letting it all hang out. That to me is way different than what you're sharing with us
The
here.
intentional design of
Yeah.
open shelvery.
And then my other thing too is that we all have, I don't know, maybe I have more hoarding in me than other people do.
Maybe.
That own those beautiful kitchens, but I have things in the kitchen that I want to have
just in case,
or things that were my mother's, or other kinds of objects, and they don't all look good together.
Right. If it were me,
me.
Susan Serra, who you should follow on Google Plus, I want to remind everybody, and on Twitter.
It's a requirement.
It's a requirement to see this kind of great context for kitchen and bath design. I lost my train of thought. Your mother thing. Oh, yeah. If it were me by myself, I would have a knife, a coffee maker, and one frying pan. I could display those all day long.
No fork?
What do you need that for? You have the knife.
Okay.
Or you could get a spork.
There you go. There you go.
So Mark would be living in a cave.
That's for sure. Well, what you also see is you see repetition. So you see, say, a bunch of bottles together, or they always say conventional wisdom is things are nice in groups of 3. So you can put 3 of one thing together, and then all of a sudden you're a designer. But I'll tell you something, Teresa, to your wonderful point about taking the doors off cabinets. Let me give you a good tip. What you could do is paint the back of the open cabinet. You can paint it any color. You can paint it a raspberry color, a blue color, or paint a piece of masonite or wood and put it in the back there, and then then you have a new look.
Well, I do like that, and that's something that we've done before with other kinds of things. To make something pop, and the backs of...
Take a white shelf, for example.
It totally changes the way all the objects look on that shelf, and it kind of brings them all to life. And I think that is a great idea.
And it adds depth.
But it kind of, to me, looks like somebody just took the fronts off their cabinets sometimes when...
Well, if it's not done with... If you just... The cabinets are meant to have doors on them.
I guess it depends on which kinds of cabinets that you're taking the fronts off, too.
It could be. It could be which ones in the actual display or arrangement of the cabinets.
Yes.
But the cabinet is meant to have a door. And people, when they see a door or a box that's supposed to have something on it and it doesn't, it just looks like it's broken.
Oh,
like
Mark, how many cubicles did I show you?
No, No, I'm talking about like if you just take a door off.
But what if you take
let me finish. She asked me.
Let me just remember what I'm thinking.
Because, we'll go like this.
Okay, I'm thinking.
The cubicles you showed were intentionally designed that way.
I see what you mean. You're right.
But what if you took the doors off and then you built some new kind of cubicle inside of that space so it looked really different than just straight shelves?
Yeah, well, you wouldn't have to do that. Say, for example, you have a cabinet on each side of your hood. I mean, you have some symmetry there, so you could take off the doors, and then you could even replace the shelves, paint the inside. You could do whatever you want. I mean, that's an easy way where you have cabinetry with symmetry. But you don't have to have symmetry. Say you have a bunch of large cabinets, and you have one narrow cabinet, wall cabinet, which many of us have. That's another good place to take off a door.
Yes. I agree with you.
I agree with you.
It's intentional. And I want to get to Fred's question.
Okay.
What are some of the practical purposes of open shelving in the kitchen? Like where what we're talking about comes from, the cupboard. That was used for something.
That's true. But yeah, the everyday dishes, it's so, like, the amount of times that we open and shut the exact same cabinet every single day.
Rip the door
to get
off.
the exact same things out every single day that we use every single day. I mean... That's
your sort of take on Fred's question?
I always think about, like, I hear about families, big families, who everyone in the family has one cup, one bowl, one fork, one spoon. And so at the end of each meal, each person in the family has to clean those things so that that's what they use the next time they go to eat.
Are you friends with the Three Bears? Who has that?
I'm kind of Goldilocks.
Oh, my God.
I just dyed my hair.
Yeah. Susan, what's your take? What's your take on Fred's question?
Yeah, well, it depends on the shelf. But you could also have shallow shelves anywhere. Say, for example, along a backsplash, you have one that's 3 inches, 4 inches deep. You put on, Teresa's right, you put on the salt and pepper shakers, you put on the oils and vinegar or whatever. So there are different types of shelves for different uses. And of course, again, my favorite function for the shelf is that it helps my immune system. So that works. But dishes, I had shelves for dishes, for my dishes, and it was, I'm basically a lazy person. Anyone who knows me, I'm basically lazy. To go to the dishwasher, put it on my open shelf, then take it when I need it. I mean, to me, that's the best in the world. So it's functional.
That's great.
If you have it in a good spot.
That is true.
I get it. And that kitchen you showed from Milan that I talked about earlier is like what you're describing.
Yeah.
It's just like what you're describing.
Well, and the thing I think about, which in my fantasy world, I think that open shelving is a beautiful idea because all of those pictures you were sharing with us, there's so much texture and there's organization visually, and it's not everything's all closed in and tidied up, and there's a little bit of style. You know, when you have cabinets that are just all over the entire room, that it just seems, I don't know, very closed off. You don't see as much personality.
Well, it also has to do with proportion. If you have a bunch of little things there that don't relate, whether by color or texture or contrast or material or whatever, then that's clutter. So you have to be there's a fine line. There's not such a fine line between clutter and order. So, it can take me hours to design one shelf. And it should. You should, and then take a picture of it. Take a picture and design it again and again and again. Because you'll say, oh, no, I liked that one 3 times ago. Take pictures.
Can I ask a serious question?
No.
I think you just raised a great point, which is there's a fine line between clutter and disorder. Or is that exactly what you said? Between clutter and disorganization. No. Between being organized and disorganized.
Yes.
Whatever.
Yes. Yeah.
And now that you know what I'm talking about,
No, but Mark, I think that also comes down to taste, too, because one man's clutter is another man's
junkyard.
True.
It's an expression of themselves. Like, they think that they're expressing themselves, and it's visually interesting, whereas if anybody else walked in, they're like, oh, holy moly, look at all that stuff.
My question for you, and I hear what you're saying, Theresa, that it's true, it's very personal, but can you sense when you're getting onto, wait a minute, this just went from, I got groups of 3, now I'm a designer. I've got the oil and vinegar, I got a bottle of wine, and I got salt and pepper shakers, and I got one other thing to make it a multiple of 3. But
oh my gosh.
Can you sense either when you're creating it or when you're in someone else's house, maybe they want to remodel, you look at it and you're like, that's great. Oh my God.
You mean in terms of the configuration of the items on the shelf?
Yeah, the difference between that looks great and that's just a mess.
Oh, absolutely. Your eye just, it speaks to you. Yes, absolutely. You can, a designer can hone in right away and see, is the proportion wrong? Is the scale wrong? Is the balance off? What's off? Are the colors off? Is the contrast? What's off and what's on? Yeah, but it's also subjective. It's also subjective. But there are design principles, that a designer understands and that are good to follow. So if you get too far afield from that, then it's. You could call it personal taste, or you could call it a disaster. Everyone's entitled.
Since I've gone to design school here today on our chat.
Yes, you've learned about, you want to groups things.
Of 3.
You want to think about the different colors and the shapes and the sizes, and not to have too many different kinds of
all
materials.
The same size milk jugs.
Just
from
milk
Italy.
Jugs. He's just going to have milk jugs all over the place.
Sizes. You can do different sizes. You should do different sizes for interest, but just, but it's layers. Now I'm going to forget.
Oh,
it's
very
layers.
good.
Yes.
It's a layered approach.
So now Mark is going to put on a t-shirt, a sweater, and a jacket when he's putting
No matter
things out.
what the temperature, by the way.
But Susan told me to dress in
She
layers.
told me to dress in layers.
And I have 3 layers
my
on, so I'm a
God.
designer.
I will have
I love
I will
it.
have 3 towels in the shower. The whole thing. I am going to do Susan, Sarah.
Why
You
are
have
there 3
changed-
soaps in the bathroom?
You have
well,
changed
Susan said if
my
I use
life.
3
God.
soaps, I'm a designer.
Well, I can see a
Susan.
little information is dangerous.
Absolutely. You've
true.
just dropped a lit match into a puddle of
So
gasoline.
True.
Thank you for hanging out with us.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you, Fred and
Thank
Robin.
you for asking me.
Yes.
Oh, you bet. Thank you, Fred and Robin, for your questions. We really enjoyed them. And keep your DIY and design inspired while you're on the move with more My Fix It Up Life tips and ideas, not only here on Google+, but on Twitter, Facebook. Also, make sure to check out the next My Fix It Up Life Live!